Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for coming. This is a really great turnout. Hope you like the way the tables are. I thought we'd try something a little bit different today, a bit more casual. And I hope you're enjoying the exhibitions that are out. Everybody who's exhibiting here today is part of Innovation Birmingham Campus. Most of them are on a program called E4F, which is Entrepreneurs for the Future, which is a program that me and my colleague Abdul run. So, can I just have a show of hands as who's their first time at Tech Wednesday? Hey, that's about half. That's cool. So, guys who have been here before, make sure you speak to the guys who haven't been here before, and you know who they are. So they should have a star on their little label. So we've got the exhibitors. They're going to be here all evening. So if you haven't had a chance to go and check them out, you can do afterwards. So this is what Tech Wednesday is about. Our hashtag TechWeds. You can see we've got a little live Twitter fall here. So anything you tweet, if you do hashtag TechWeds, it'll come up there. And you should be able to find out the speakers' Twitter handles and stuff through the Innovation Birmingham Campus Twitter. That will be doing that as well. So really Tech Wednesday is exactly what it looks like. It's the tech community, the startup community of Birmingham, and actually people further than Birmingham who come here to these events. It's every third Wednesday of the month. And it's getting bigger and better, and bigger and bigger, and a lot of really good connections happen here. So make sure you do use this time to network, as well as learn about what the speakers are here to talk about. So this is, as you all know, you've all got your little spots on your name tags. We've just found this really helps with the networking afterwards, so you don't get stuck in those awkward conversations that aren't going anywhere. You can look, if you're looking for a developer, you can be like, who's got a red spot? Or if you're hiring, people can look for you with the orange. So you'll see that those are out and about if you forget what they mean. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown of what Innovation Birmingham does. So we have office suites. It's one of our biggest things that we have here. So the top floor of this building, and then we've got 2 other buildings with lots of other office space. There's around 160 tech companies on this campus that all work from here and collaborate together. We've got these conferencing facilities as well. So this space here is available to hire. So if you're looking to run events, get in touch with me or Pia, who just called you all to order then, and we can talk to you about how you go about hiring this space out for your event. And then the co-working opportunities. So we've got 4 programs. There's only 3 there. We've got 4. So we've got E4F that I just explained. So that's for startup tech companies. You get 9 months worth of space. You get a mentor. You get events like this. You get to work alongside other people going through the same stuff as you, which is really, really valuable, because it's a really lonely life doing a startup, and we know that. So we're always trying to connect people. Serendip is based in this building. One of our speakers this evening is actually on Serendip. And that's for slightly later stage businesses, maybe people who are already generating revenue, and they're looking to get into the market. So we've got some key sponsors, some key corporate sponsors that can help you do that. There's the Big Data Corridor, which is all about, to be honest, I'm not sure too much about that, but I can find out if anybody's interested in that later. And Innovation Engine, which I'm actually going to invite Valentina? They were arguing earlier who's going to talk. Valentina, who runs that program, is just going to come and give us a little bit of information about the Innovation Engine project. Yep.
Hello, everybody. Just get to the front first. So, yes, my name is Valentina Barker. I work with my colleague Shirley Hodson-Walker. She's over there, so you can talk to her afterwards as well. We're running one of the 4 projects, and one of those that was just on screen. And I probably can talk about my project and quickly mention the Big Data Corridor project as well, because I'm temporarily looking after that project too. So, Innovation Engine. We work with SMEs. The project is part funded by the European Regional Development Fund, and also funded by other 6 partners that take part in this project, partner organizations. So we have 2 universities working with us, Birmingham City University and University of Birmingham. We have 2 transport organizations, West Midlands Combined Authority and AMI. And we have two health sector companies, Birmingham Community Healthcare Trust and University Hospitals Birmingham. So anybody who's working with sustainability, transport or healthcare sector can come to us with their ideas, their products or processes that they're developing, and the aim of the project is connect you to the right people, validate your ideas, help you develop those products or processes. Usually that happens through the consultancy, through working with key people in those large organizations. And usually as the result, you get either new product developed or you get information that you need to get about the market or anything that you might need help with. We can find the right person in those organizations and connect you. And as well, the work of those people would be financed through the project, so that comes at no cost to yourselves. So that's very briefly about our project. There are a number of people in the room. I've seen a few who is on our project. Later, Gary Bryant will have a word about his tech, EdTech community, so Gary's part of our project as well. So if you're interested to understand a bit more details, what you can get on the project, do come and have a chat with us. Very briefly about Big Data Corridor. It's also a quite large project. It also has 6 partners. The aim of that project is slightly different though. It's also funded partly by the European Regional Development Fund. But they have developed a big data platform. So anybody who's interested in working with the data, who might need specific data and or want to learn how to work with big data, I think if you come to that project and talk to them, there might be opportunities for you either obtain some data that you might not necessarily get through other ways, or you can learn how to do it, and you can also practice because they have a platform and there are some tools that you can use, visualization tool and so on. So if you have interest in the big data, I would suggest also contact through myself or through Shirley, because at the moment we're looking after that project, and we then pass it through to the partner organizations. Amongst them is Birmingham City University, who built the platform, Enable ID, one of the developers, also West Midlands Combined Authority, who provide some data from their pool, Birmingham City Council, Aston University Photonics Lab, and I think there's another partner who escapes me, and I forgot who that is. But if you want more information, please get in touch with us. We also have on the tables the leaflet, why we're doing this and how we can help. These relate to the Innovation Engine project. So have a look. There is description of all the partners and the services or consultancy that the partners can provide. And if you're interested, by all means, fill it in, send it to us via email. We get back to you and we put you on the project, and hopefully we can assist you with what you do. So that's, I think, all from us. Again, Shirley's over there. Please wave.
Give us a wave. Way.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Valentina. Does a much better job at all that than I can do. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our first speaker, Stan from Give Vision, who are also exhibiting just in the middle of that blue column over there, so you can go and have a chat later if you want some more information. So over to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. So as you've already heard, we're one of the companies that are in iCentrum. And so the starting joke that I come up with is that if you see a company talking at this event, which is from this building, it's a sure sign that iCentrum is running out of speakers. See if you have a good, interesting story to tell. Do talk to them, and they'll sort you out with a talk as well. I will start quickly with a story explaining what we do. So we are working with visually impaired people. most of the people who are registered blind are visually impaired, but what it actually means is that their vision is very poor to the degree that you can't fix that poor sight with pair of glasses. So they are what could be considered almost blind. What we do, we want to make their life easier and more independent. So if you look at traditionally what tools available for visually impaired people, that would be magnifiers. So people for the last 20, 30 years would just use a camera or a glass loop to magnify a piece of text. And that would be that's the extent of tools available for them today. So we thought, with development of smart glasses and augmented reality, we thought, why don't we just find a technology that we can project light to the working part of retina, use the camera to capture the image, and just project it, and see if that works. We didn't have the money to make the smart glasses at the time, so we used a workaround. We took a smartphone, parked it on the visually impaired person's face with a VR set, and we got what we call a prototype. So here I'm going to show you a little video of Charlie. Charlie is 7 on this video. Oh, hello. Is he still 7? Not anymore. He's 8 now. So Charlie is 8, and his mother sent us the video after they took the device home. So he's probably starting to play FIFA on his TV. Never done that before. So he's just trying to play with his brother here, and it should play. I need to test how far this works. Yep. It's a short video, but it's always, because the impact of this technology is so instant, it's always emotional. And every time I watch this video, and remember, every single time we have people coming to our office to try a technology, because the effect is so immediate, it always brings, especially the family members, to tears. Not so much the visually impaired, like, ooh, look at that. I didn't know you got so old. So what we did then, we decided to turn that proof of concept into a medical device. You see a prototype here. We're using a see-through lenses, which project directly into your eye. Even we have a prototype, I think, at the desk. You can have a look. And what we want to do is to make visually impaired, well, we want to do a medical device that works for visually impaired, but also looks okay. It doesn't make them wear VR sets on the street. And the first sort of short-term goal we want to achieve is to make sure that in the next 4 to 5 years, there are no more visually impaired children without an aid, at least in the UK. We can easily achieve that many of them out there, so hopefully you can come back in 5 years and check if I was good in my word. So that's what we do. What I wanted to talk to you about was smart glasses, because we understand a thing or two now about smart glasses, and there's been a lot of news about AR, and Apple building their smart glasses, and Samsung's building their smart glasses. So okay, so clearly it's true, and relatively soon we'll see a whole bunch of smart glasses for the consumers as well. Now, it's very easy to understand why, because as soon as they get real estate of your eyeballs, which is pretty expensive if you look at the advertising rates, if they can put something in front of your eyes and start bombarding you with sort of advertisements and offers of free coffee or shopping deals and reviews, well, it's a no-brainer. It's a great business model for them. So it's a tough nut to crack, but they're really keen to put something out there. Now, here we go. Right. So it's not around the corner, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, display technology is not here yet, so they're still a bit clunky and thick. The other problem is the energy equation. If you put all of the battery and all of the processing chips on the frame, it makes for very bulky and heavy glasses. So they're not yet comfortable. So that's another problem to crack. Third one is content. If they really want to own your eyeballs, they need to provide you a reason to wear this thing all day. And there's not that many, for consumers, there's not that many really sort of I don't know, reasons for you to wear that. They need to invent content that will make you wear this all day long, or make you want to wear it. And of course, you know Magic Leap. I mean, this is their product now. Wearable technology is a bit of an oxymoron because it's not really wearable. We always make good fun of it. I would not want to wear something like that on the street. And the reason it's bulky is not only because of displays, but also because for you to do your old fancy hand gestures, you need to crack depth sensing. And depth sensing is not an easy thing to crack with small, you can't just put one camera. You have to put spaced cameras and infrared sensors and a lot of other stuff on board. So it's not going to be, it's not tomorrow. It's a couple, 2, 3 more, maybe 5 more years before we see something decent. Okay, what I want to talk today. When we worked with visually impaired people and kids especially, one thing kind of dawned on us is that in some way, all of us are in one way or the other, and this is a really political topic, so I need to be very careful here, handicapped, if you will. Some of us are better at maths, others are better at critical thinking, or have better, more creative. I don't know, I, for example, I am a complete sociopath. I cannot read facial expressions. I need help to define people's emotions. And these are all, it's on a spectrum. So you're not in a wheelchair, you're not blind, but in a way, this is a handicap, which it's your weakness. I'll give you my story, but I think what we want to look into, what we want to explore with wearable technology and smart glasses especially, is to really look at, how can we augment human abilities? How can we make them more competitive? How can we not really fix, but really enhance their strengths and maybe make up for the handicaps that they may carry? I'll give you my personal example. Because English is not my native language, my reading speed is a lot slower than most of you, probably 3 to 5 times slower, and also comprehension. So my cost of information acquisition is about 3 to 5x. So I pay 5 times more for acquiring information, whether that's email or a book or a scientific paper, than a normal citizen would, just a median person. And you may think that this is only relevant to foreigners, but I'm going to come back to this. But if you think about most of your jobs, a lot of what you do, you're consuming information, whether from emails or internet or what's not, and you need to provide either decisions or a reply. That's, if you condense everything we do, we consume information, we make sense of it, simplify it, and then we just produce an output, a summary or reply or a decision. Now, what we tested with our smart glasses, for example, you must have heard, well, some of you might have heard of a Spritz. It's a speed reading app that you can download for your smartphone or smartwatch. But if you apply exactly the same logic of displaying one word at the time on the screen, you can increase even your reading speed by 3 to 5 times. So I can sort of, using something like that, I can read a book or an article a lot faster. And coming back to the point I was making, in the knowledge worker economy, your ability to make better decisions or making more decisions, more output per day, kind of depends about the amount of information you can consume and comprehend. Coming off comprehension as well, if you ever, any one of you tried to read a legal document, it is very sometimes difficult to read. Okay, maybe it's just for me, but they're complicated documents to read because they separate the verb from noun, from an adjective, in such a large piece of text. It's not easy to follow because they have comma and lots of conditions and then the verb, for example. A lot of you who do programming probably using something like Android Studio. And a common thing there is to highlight different functions in different colors so you know when you look for code for a piece you're looking for. So simplifying information for you when you consume it becomes a lot easier to understand what is this article talking about. You can again improve that. And since we're talking about lawyers, who wouldn't like to have a memory like what's his name? Sam Ross? Mike Ross. Thank you, Mike Ross. Again, if you can recognize with a camera and highlight the text, or even just save bits, we can save them onto the device, and you have a almost unlimited amount of memory bank on your face, which you can index by location, where you read it, by time, when you read it, or by keywords. You can start searching, and not only searching, maybe this is a way for us to go into the realm of shareable memories. Okay, cool. The other thing, which is an opportunity, is that the cameras and sensors on your phones today already, but in principle, can sense a lot more than our senses. So let's say camera, right? So camera can sense a lot more than our eye. I'll demonstrate it here. This is a project from MIT. We use the demo of that as well on one of our devices. What it does here, on the left is play. Don't play. What? Here we go. So on the left, this is what you can see. On the right, what they did, they magnified the vibration that camera can perceive by 10 times. And now this is a micro vibrations that your eye cannot see, but camera can perceive. Now we can also do that with muscles. And what they did, we can start reading your heart rate, your pulse, your skin color changes or emotional responses, again, to indicate whether about your current state or about your intentions maybe. This is one way, which is it's a freaky way. Why would I want to know your heart rate? But if any one of you ever downloads an Android app to tell your, so you can download an app to tell your body temperature. And you use a camera for that, and what it basically does, it can see tiny motions in the changes of color, and then from the heart rate, identify your body temperature. That's how it works, same thing. But I think so we're working with an engineer from UCL, Mirek Inatka, and he and his colleagues, they're working on the same technology to highlight the veins. So when a surgeon does an operation, they can, using Valyrian magnification, they essentially can see the vein because it moves a lot clearer. And you can project it to the surgeon eye and they know where to cut. And same goes for your other sensors. So microphones, they can sense and detect stuff on a lot bigger frequency than your ears. You just need to figure out how to make it useful for the consumers. Your motion sensors can detect a lot more than our bodies. You just need to figure out how to make it useful. So I guess the challenge we have here, we are going to put the device on people's face with lots of cool sensors. And if you have ideas of making useful tools using existing technologies, we would love to hear from you. We will equip you with developer kits and maybe a bit of a grant to sustain yourself for your experimentation. But essentially, we're hiring. We just don't have an orange circle. I forgot to put that on. We would love to hear from you. And I think what we want to hear. So a lot of times when people talk about tools, they think of a hammer or a shovel or that sort of tool. Basically, a tool is something that enhances your physical abilities. We want to know if you have ideas for developing tools that enhance our other abilities. Let's go with that. So yeah, that's us. That's what we offer. If you want to talk to us and you want to find out more, you can talk to those ladies at the back. Give us a wave. Hello. Yay. Here we go. And yeah, thank you so much for your time today. Questions too. Oh.
That's fascinating.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
Fascinating. It's scary almost, actually, how much we can detect from
Did I scare
such
you?
tiny. A little bit.
I told you I'm a
Little bit.
sociopath.
No, you didn't. Do we have any questions for Stan? If we do, can we just, there was a couple of roaming mics, if you can just wait for the mics, because I know it's hard for everybody to hear. So if we've got any questions, one here, you may as well, oh, there's a mic just there.
Hey, so you talked about lots and lots of different topics there, so I just want to be clear on what you actually do as a business. So you started off by talking about the kind of visual impaired user, and I can totally understand how that would be of extreme benefit for them. And then there were lots of different examples of kind of lots of different things that you potentially could do with smart glasses. Is your business effectively going away from visually impaired people and trying to create some sort of smart glasses to compete with Google or your software? Or what do you actually do as a business?
So to achieve our goals to serve visually impaired people, we had to develop a device what you see on the screen. Now that we made it, we realized that probably it's just the tip of iceberg what we do for visually impaired people. and we can do a lot more. But we just don't have many ideas or time. But as you pointed out, we're not leaving visually impaired without their device, but we realize that there's opportunity to create greater impact. So our smart glasses are going to be different from Google Glass. We're not competing with Samsung or Apple because we believe they're going the wrong direction. They're going the direction of pestering you and selling you more shit, learning about you. We don't believe this is the road. We believe in human augmentation. So we want to make a useful tools to make you better at what you do. And we believe smart glasses is a great opportunity. We may be wrong as well, by the way.
So just to follow up. So in essence, somebody who doesn't necessarily need to wear glasses would effectively wear that device, and you're trying to find ways of providing them with a benefit to cause them to want them to put them on in the morning and wear them all day. Is that right?
I would rephrase it. I don't want to force anyone to put anything on their face. I want to create tools that are useful and people would want to put something on their face. But parking a bunch of sensors and display in front of your face, I believe can make you incredibly more awesome. So, yeah.
Cool, thank you. One more question, if there is one? We're all good then. If you do think of questions, like we say, they're over there. So another round of applause for Stan, please. Guys, you standing at the back, if you want to come, there's a few chairs now at the front if your legs are getting tired. If you want to, just so you know, there are some chairs floating about. One right here as well. So before our next speaker, we've got a couple of people who are just going to come and give themselves a little 1-minute pitch. This is something that we like to do just for people who are particularly looking to get something out of the community of this evening. So if you want to do this in the future, get in touch with us and we can get you onto future ones. So first of all, we've got my good friend and colleague, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Emmanuel, and tonight I'll have a pleasure, the honor, for the first time in UK, for the first time in Birmingham, exclusively, tonight, we're going to launch the first digital card that will change totally the transaction, the travel, and the future of the hospitality industry. This is it. It's called FlyCard. What does that do? In the shape of the card, you can put all your credit card, debit card, loyalty card. No more wallet carrying around. You have it all in one card. You have a PIN, it's super secure. You cannot skim it. You cannot steal it. If I lose this card with one touch of an app, I deactivate, I cancel everything. In 2 days, the card will be back to your house. No data will be stolen. One more thing. With this card here, who would like to be paid more today? I see some hands over there. Perfect. My colleagues, my team over there, come to see them. Come to speak with me. I will show you how you're going to get one of these and how you're going to get paid. More. I want to know who loves travel. Everybody loves travel? 1, 2, 3. You don't travel, yeah? You work too much. I see. So I presume everybody loves travel, right? I will show you how with this card you will travel more. Come to see me and my team over there. One more thing. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I have the demo come to see me. Rest, I will explain you over there. All right? Thank you very much.
I think Emmanuel should take my job. That was amazing. Sounds really exciting, though, right? One more minute pitch. Gary? There we are.
Cheers, thank you. Sorry, nothing anywhere near as exciting as that. So my name is Gary Bryant. I run an edtech business called ITSI, just based next door in Faraday Wharf. And I'm a bit of an edtech veteran and also a proud Midlander. And when I relocated the business next door, one of the things I was looking for was an edtech scene in Birmingham. It does exist, but it's just beneath the surface. So I've created a meetup group. So this is a little bit meta. I'm sort of pitching for a meetup group within a meetup group. And it's the West Midlands EdTech Business Meetup. And we've got our next event taking place on the 14th of March. We're based here in this building, not in this room. So if anyone's interested in EdTech, either you've started a business, you're running a business, you're thinking about getting into the EdTech business, then please feel free to go to Meetup, do a search for West Midlands EdTech Business. You'll find us there, RSVP for the next event on the 14th of March. Also on the table, there are some flyers. If you've got a QR code, you want to scan those, or happy to have a conversation with you afterwards. But yes, that's my pitch. Just come and join us if you're interested in EdTech on Wednesday 14th.
Everybody who's here tonight, if you've given your email address or if we've got your email address, you'll get a follow-up email. I'm not going to overpromise this week. And we'll send all the links and everything on there that you'll need, so that's all good. Right, without further ado, finally, I'd like to introduce John and Mike, who have come from Global to talk about some pretty exciting stuff that they're doing. So over to these guys.
Evening, everyone. How are we doing? Everyone looking forward to pizza? As Naomi's just explained there, we're from Global Media. It's myself, Mike Davis, and my colleague Caroline. And the foundation of what we have always done has been radio. As you can see there, we're responsible for sort of 8 or 9 of the largest commercial radio brands in the UK. However, we're at a tech event, and actually we're not here to talk to you guys about radio this evening. We're here to talk to you about the future of audio advertising, and we see that in digital audio. So what is digital audio? In a nutshell, it's audio content consumed on a connected device to the internet. That might be through your smartphone or your tablet, it might be through your PlayStation or Xbox console, or through Alexa at home. And this particular sort of channel of media is split down into 3 separate channels. So you see there we've got music streaming, radio streaming, and podcasting. To give you a bit of background about the history of the digital audio market in the UK, sort of back in 2012, there was nearly 11 million people in the UK streaming, which was a pretty strong number. However, over the course of the last couple of years, we've seen it double. By the close of 2017, there was 44% of the population was streaming music via a connected device. And actually, the really exciting thing for us is that by 2020, which is 18 months away, 2 years away, we're going to be up to 31 million people in the UK every week streaming. We see that growth coming through, like I say, Alexa, Google Home, Apple Home, etc., etc. To give you a bit of an overview on how those splits look at the minute, about 11.1 million of us every week streaming through your normal streaming services. So that's your Spotify, your SoundClouds, your TuneIn, your Deezers. In addition to that, a further 10 million of us are streaming via our favourite radio apps. So that might be through the Global Player, which would have Heart, Capital Smooth, Classic, Radio X, maybe through one of Bauer's media apps, so your free radios, or Absolute, or Planet Rock, or something like that. And actually, some of the main growth that we're going to be seeing in the next sort of couple of years is through podcasting. Now, this particular channel's really, really taken off in the UK, sort of following suit from our friends over in America. In terms of other streaming services that we do have, we swallowed up the main bulk of those, through the other 2 channels. But through podcasting, there's going to be some real growth. We're seeing this might be at 10 million people every week by 2020. So we're seeing some really staggering numbers there in general. It's a really strong media channel, and it's a really truly engaged audience. And you can see there that there's 10.6 hours of our week every week has been spent, consuming media through one of the 3 previous channels. And so for business owners, for tech companies who are looking to, break into markets and sort of reach, their target audience with their services, with their products, there's a great opportunity here for yourselves. The real issue is, as you can see there, just from a handful of our sort of publishers that we deal with, the market is so fragmented, split down by the channel that you are streaming music, and then again by the diverse nature of what channels suits your taste best. And so it's for this reason why Global, we're a massively innovative company, and we've created a product that we've called DAX, which is the Digital Audio Exchange. If this is going to work. No. There we go.
We want to talk to you about a new way to reach the streamers. These people listen to digital audio on a device connected to the internet. They could be relaxing at home, talking to Alexa, or taking their music with them to the gym, the office. Wherever they go, they've either got their headphones on or their Bluetooth speakers turned up. And it's this portability that means audio streaming is growing rapidly. The market is absolutely huge, and that's no surprise when you take the millions streaming their favorite radio stations, add the millions listening to music, and the millions of podcast listeners. They listen on hundreds of different platforms, and the majority of these will serve an advert maybe every third song, or during a break in the show. And Global's Digital Audio Exchange, DAX, allows you to place your advert on all these platforms. By collecting data through login details, we know far more about this digital audience, including their age, sex, demographic, and DAX's geo-targeting ability allows you to choose where you want to advertise. Your commercial is then delivered to your target audience based on impressions. So if you start with 250,000 impressions, this means 250,000 commercials will be served to your target audiences. They'll be listening to various platforms on a range of connected devices, and that number is absolutely guaranteed. After every campaign, you'll get a personalized report showing the listen-through rates. That's people who've listened all the way through, the total number of individuals who've heard it, and the overall number of impressions. So you know we've delivered exactly what we promised. It's this ability to target that makes DAX hugely cost-effective. And because there's no wastage, you increase your return on investment. DAX was judged to be award-winning innovation by the IPA no less. So with this many companies using DAX as part of their digital marketing,
Couldn't end there because it's so cheesy at the end of it, and we had absolutely no way near that. But you can see it's a tremendously exciting product. The reach of it is just going in leaps and bounds. And if you know your audience, well, actually, we have got such a scalable sort of piece of data, with more and more layers getting added to it through partnerships, etc., with other large companies. We can find that audience. We can make sure that your message is being delivered to the right audience. And actually, Mike's going to talk you through in a second about how we can then report back and show you actually that was delivered to the right audience, which means it's an absolute game changer when it comes to digital advertising, as far as audio is concerned, definitely. So of that 22.5 million sort of audience that is streaming in the UK at the moment, we can reach through that. It's about 17 million, I believe the latest figure is, as of last week. And what DAX does for you as an advertiser is it makes life easy for you. There's 180 services that we work with in terms of publishers, and actually you could go to every single one of them. You'd pay a different rate for a different campaign, and it becomes quite messy and actually quite difficult. DAX takes all the hard work out of that. So what we do is we handle all of your creative sort of needs in-house. We make sure it's sort of formatted to fit all of the publishers. We've talked briefly about the targeting. We'll go into that in a bit more detail in a second. And actually, DAX is always awake. It's always thinking. It's always searching for your audience. So it's optimizing, and it's the campaign will be optimized right the way through. The reporting we'll touch on in a second, and again, it's just completely programmatic digital audio advertising at scale, which means that we can guarantee your messages going to the right place. I'll hand over to Mike now just to talk you through the targeting capabilities and again, reporting.
We've got 5 minutes and we're given the notice, so I'll whiz through this. Yeah, as John says, really, DAX is, it's a huge opportunity within DAX, but just to kind of pull out a few things. In terms of targeting, there is a big data management platform that sits behind DAX, and which means that we know a lot about the audience who are streaming that we can access on your behalf. Which means that we can create much more targeted, much more effective campaigns if you're looking to advertise in terms of geo-targeting. So if you want to target a particular audience in a particular part of the UK, we can do that. If you want to target a particular age demographic, a particular device that they're consuming audio on, if you want to target people who are when the weather's a particular temperature or the genre of music that they're listening to, there's all sorts of different ways that we can target on DAX to an audience that may be of interest to you, and there are huge different segments there. We also work with a lot of second-party companies that we work and effectively work and share some data with them, which means that we can get access to a vast amount of data now, all of which together means that there are a whole heap of different data points and different groups of people that we can access to advertise your message to. Whether that's people who are really into cars, for example, we can reach 1.2 million auto intenders, or whether that's people who are really interested in travelling, so 5.4 million travel intenders, for example. So there are lots and lots of different examples that we use where we create fantastically bespoke campaigns depending on the audience you want to access. A couple of great examples that we've run. This was one for Very, who ran a campaign for us and with us and wanted to target particularly the home entertainment audience because they had some products that they wanted to really get across. So instead of using a kind of broad brush approach, they very much specifically targeted this data group of home entertainment fans, which meant that their message got to the people they wanted to at the right time, in the right place. Similarly, British Airways have done something similar where they wanted to target travel intenders, and again, they used that audience through DAX to get their message across there. So in terms of reporting, we report on various metrics, impressions, unique users, so we can tell you how many impressions were served during the campaign. We can tell you actually how many unique users heard your message. We trade on something called a listen-through rate, which means that we basically tell you how many people, what percentage of the campaign was listened through in its entirety, and those listen-through rates on average are incredibly high, sort of 90 to 95% on average. So ad avoidance with this product is fantastic. We can also tell you where people have been listening and how they've been listening, whether that's been on desktop or laptop, whether that's mobile, tablet, or whether that's any other appliances. And it kind of looks a little bit like that. But beyond that, we can do even more with our kind of reporting, and this is a new development, I suppose, in the last 6 months that we've been able to do, which gives us a degree of post-campaign attribution. So instead of being able to tell you who heard it and where they heard it, which is great, we can actually tell you as well what they did next. So with the product we've got, which is called Listener ID, we can actually tell you that, yes, this person heard your ad, but actually we can now say they heard your ad, they visited your website, and they did various different things on your website. We can tell you how your ads performed, which were performing more effectively than others, and actually what time of day your campaign was more effective than others, which really helps with insight for future campaigns. And onto kind of further levels within that, we can also tell a lot more about the audience, as well as telling you who's visited your website and what they've done, or sorry, how many people have visited your website and what they've done. We can also tell you actually who they were, what insight we've got, what they were interested in, what their behaviour was, what their kind of likes and interests were. So a lot of fantastic data that sits behind DAX that we can use really effectively and efficiently for you. 2 more minutes? 1 more minute? And we can only see this grow. As John says, this is, the audience for DAX and digital audio streaming is enormous and growing massively because of various things, one of which is this, the huge proliferation of voice-controlled devices, which has had a major kind of tipping point in the last few months. In fact, Radio Centre, who are an industry body, reported that around 40% of UK households by early 2018, will have some sort of voice-controlled device in their home. Actually, quick show of hands, who's got a voice-controlled device in their home? Cool. Yeah, 30%, about that, not bad. So this is only going to grow and develop more, and when that happens, that is will mean more and more people are streaming, more and more people are accessing audio in this way, which is an incredibly exciting time for us in this world. So, and that's why we can comfortably say audio from our point of view has never been more influential in media and technology and business. And there are various kind of white papers and reports that we can talk to about this, but probably the most stark one, I suppose, is that one in the top right there, which is a report by Gartner, who reckon that by 2020, 30% of all web browsing sessions will be done without a screen. Which, if you kind of consider that and how we're currently searching for things online at the moment, that's going to be a huge evolution, and obviously voice-activated search is a major part of that too. So we're really excited about what that future holds, and DAX, is a massive part of that. We have got, as well as our UK operation, we have DAX over in the States. We have a massive audience over there, and we're also just opening offices in Paris and Hamburg as well in Germany. So when you add all that together, we can now comfortably say that DAX is the largest digital audio advertising platform in the world, with a monthly audience of 160 million people. And that's pretty much it from us. So thank you very much. We're going to be around later, so if there's any questions, absolutely, please come and see us.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
Thank you. I clapped earlier. I thought that was an impressive step. Awesome. Well, that's kind of it for now. Has anybody got any just quick questions for the global guys? Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the point where you have access to the data after they see the adverts. How do you get access to that data?
So we've got a tagging system that works within DAX. So we can create a tag within the client website and match that tag within the DAX software that we have, and we can tell that when someone hears the ad through DAX and then visits the client's website, that those kind of tags talk to each other, and we can then report on that performance and say, okay, we can tell you this person heard your ad, and then actually a period of time later they've gone and visited your site and effectively sort of track their user behavior and be able to report back on that.
And is this cross-platform? So if you hear the ad on your phone and then...
No, it's not cross-platform yet, but that's the next development on it, definitely, and that is something that we're very keen to develop, and that's coming soon.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. I can't get to you. Just wait for me.
Hi.
You do.
How did you? I get what it is, but in a nutshell, how did you start, and is where you are now where you thought you'd be when you started?
That's a great question. How did we start? So as John says, we're part of Global, which is a big media and entertainment group, which radio was our sort of, I guess, the core business initially, and DAX has come as a sort of development from Global. And frankly, where did we start? About 4 years ago, there was a team of people who looked at I guess, over to the States, which is around about 18 months ahead of the UK in terms of its sort of streaming behaviour, and saw that there's this huge shift in the way that people are consuming audio, actually, and moving away from the traditional ownership of things like music into accessing it. And if you think about that world now, maybe 10, 15 years ago, if we heard a song on the radio, we would go down the road and to Our Price, if anyone remembers that, and buy a record. Maybe 5 years ago, we would have heard that song that we really liked and perhaps visited iTunes and paid 79p to download a track. Now what's happening is people are still doing that, still hearing the music they like, but instead of owning it, they're going onto all these streaming services and basically accessing it free of charge. So we saw that this development was coming, and basically just realised that there was a huge market in the UK already kind of growing, but actually the challenge for advertisers was that audience, that market was so complex and so fragmented that if you were wanting to place an advertising message in that space, it was very difficult to do because there are so many different streaming services around there, which is fantastic for you and I as consumers, not so great for marketeers to advertise, because you'd lose the will to live by lunchtime, frankly, phoning all these services. So the principle we kind of discovered within that is actually if we can do all that and work with all these different streaming partners and create one access point and make that life so much easier for you, then happy days, and it works. And so that's part one. Sorry. Part two, are we now? It's a really good question. I think we can see the development. We can see, again, we kind of got one eye over to in the States, and their journey has gone that route, and you can totally see how it's gone as fast as it has. I think we probably are, and I think that that has only just started really with this proliferation of voice-activated sound. It is going to be completely, if it's not mainstream already, it's going to be a completely mainstream pursuit very soon. That was a very long answer, sorry.
No, it's great. I think we'll stop there. If you've got any more, you guys sticking around for a bit? Yep. So you can talk to them later. But thank you again, and I'll hopefully see you all next month. Thanks.